All right, so today we're diving deep, way deep into the Nickel Boys.
Oh yeah, this one's heavy.
Both the book, Colson Whitehead, amazing writer, and the film they made from it.
Yeah, yeah, both powerful in their own way, for sure.
And it gets right at some really, really tough stuff. Like, wow, systemic racism,
Student center.
fighting for justice when it feels like the whole world's against you.
And man, the trauma, the way it just like sticks with you.
We're going to unpack all of that, the whole story, and it's going to be a journey.
It's based on a true story, right? At least partly.
Well, kind of, sort of. Whitehead took this real place, the Dozier School for Boys, down in Florida.
Place had a real bad reputation.
Understatement.
Yeah.
Brutal, like truly awful things happen there.
And he used that, Dozier, as like inspiration for Nickel Academy, the school in the book.
It makes you wonder, right? Like, how many other Nickel Academies were out there?
And how many stories just got buried, never came to light.
Ugh. Okay, so to really get into this, we gotta go back in time. Think 1960s, Jim Crow South.
Oh man, that time period, just like the tension, the struggle, it was all so raw.
And right in the middle of all that is Elwood Curtis, this like bright, optimistic black teenager.
It's full of hope, right?
Yeah, he's like totally inspired by Dr. King and his teachings, believes in nonviolence, the whole thing.
Believes in a better future.
Which is, well, kind of amazing considering where he is, what's going on around him.
Right. Like how do you hold on to that kind of hope in a place like that?
And then, bam, just like that, his world gets turned upside down. He's falsely accused of a crime.
It's heartbreaking, really.
Totally. Like all his dreams, college, a future, it all just evaporates.
And it sends him straight to Nickel Academy.
Which is like the opposite of everything he believes in.
Yeah, it's like Whitehead saying even when you try to do everything right, the system can still crush you.
And this isn't some like random bad luck thing.
No.
This is like straight up systemic racism.
Exactly. Like it's not an accident that Elwood, a young black man, ends up in this awful situation.
It's because of his race. The prejudices of the time, they're baked into the whole system.
It makes you think, like, how many other Elwoods were out there?
So many, probably.
Yeah.
Just their potential, their lives wasted.
It's a tragedy.
Now, while he's at Nickel, Elwood meets another kid, Turner.
Oh.
Yeah, Turner, he's different. He's seen too much.
He's cynical.
Exactly. He's all about survival, whatever it takes.
He doesn't have those big ideals that Elwood does.
Nope. He thinks hope, it's a weakness in a place like Nickel.
It's interesting, right? You've got these two totally different worldviews.
Yeah, Elwood with his hope, Turner with his grit, and somehow they gotta navigate this nightmare together.
I guess that's kind of the central question, isn't it? Can idealism like Elwood's, can it even exist in a place like that?
Or does it get crushed? Like, does he have to become more like Turner to make it out?
Because Nickel Academy, it's not just like a strict school.
Oh no, it's way worse than that. I mean, we're talking beatings, exploitation, even kids being killed.
The stuff Whitehead describes, it's brutal.
And then there's this one building, they call it the White House.
Chilling.
It's where like the worst of the worst stuff happens. It's like this symbol of like hidden terror.
Yeah.
Like, how can a place that's supposed to help kids be so messed up?
And the crazy thing, the really messed up thing, it's not just made up.
Right.
Like people who survived Dozier, the real place, they tell stories that echo what happens in the book.
It's a reminder that, like fiction, it often comes from real-life horrors.
So even with all that going on, Elwood somehow, he holds on to hope.
He does?
He does. He still believes things can change.
Wow.
But then things take another turn. He and Turner, they decide to escape.
Oh, wow.
Risky move, obviously.
Yeah, super risky. Like, the odds are totally stacked against them.
But they're desperate.
So it begs the question, are they running towards something, like freedom, or just away from the horror of Nickel?
Now, here's where Whitehead gets really clever with the storytelling. He starts using two timelines.
Oh, interesting.
We see Elwood and Turner at Nickel, but we also jump to the future, years later, where Turner's an adult.
So, like, back and forth.
Exactly, back and forth. And it's not just a cool narrative trick. It like reinforces this idea that trauma, it doesn't just disappear.
It stays with
It shapes who you become.
And that past, it's not really past, is it? It keeps showing up in your present.
And then, get this, we find out that adult Turner, he's been living under Elwood's name.
Whoa, hold on. Why?
That's the million-dollar question. It's like, is it guilt? Is it like some way to honor Elwood?
It's got to be a heavy burden carrying around another person's identity like that.
No kidding. And it makes you think about survivor's guilt, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Like, why did I make it out when he didn't?
And then, bam, another twist.
Yeah.
They find the remains of victims buried at Nickel. And it's like this huge turning point. Suddenly, everything's out in the open.
All those secrets, all that horror, it can't be hidden anymore.
And it forces everyone, like society as a whole, to confront what happened, their complicity.
Yeah, like they knew or they should known and they looked away.
And that's part of what makes the Nickel Boys so powerful. You know, it's not just about Elwood and Turner. It's about, like, all of us. It's about confronting these really uncomfortable truths about our past.
And making sure something like this never happens again.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Does the Nickel Boys leave you with any hope? Or is it more of a wake-up call?
And what are we going to do about it? Like, how do we make sure history doesn't keep repeating itself?
Those are the questions we all got to wrestle with.